Hi everyone. No, this is not going to be a video on phones or clocks or barometers, light bulbs. It's going to be one on the plants with a warning. Very much so. Some of you might remember me mentioning this on, I think, on Instagram and some other platforms which I occasionally go on, about compost. Obviously I can't give the name of the compost. I wish I could. They can supply stuff which kills my plants, which they did. But anyhow, I'm going to put this through as a warning and show you the results. I'm still getting results even now from the use of this compost, even after it had been changed to a better one. Anyway, let me show you that leaflet which came through the door. I think I'm allowed to show this. If it's not clear to be read, it's "Your neighbours are subscribing to our garden waste." Waste being the operative word. Recycling service. Why not give it a go? It's not free. It's not free at all. But what it does do, or can do, is providing the waste which is killing our plants. John Innes compost years ago was laid down by the John Innes Institution to contain certain ingredients. And I'm sure one of those ingredients is not garden waste. When you think garden waste can be grass clippings, old leaves, dead weeds, dead plants, plants that have been killed by weed killer, which I understand can be quite long lasting, and all chopped up, put into a green container like you see here. Let me see how much it costs. It's not cheap, I know. I think I'm allowed to show this. If I'm not, I'm sorry. It's put up as a warning. I think it says it, so it's obviously not free. Anyhow, the main thing is, I'm very concerned about this. I'll show you my plants as we go round one of the greenhouses. The plants have never, what is the word I'm looking for? They haven't sparkled like they did years ago before the introduction of this horrible compost. Now, I think I'm allowed to say where the compost can be bought without naming any of the companies. Let's put it like this. One batch I got was from a very large DIY shop. It ended up by killing a load of my lithops and affecting them to such an extent. Other people, I believe, had noticed this but didn't know what it was. Well, I can assure you it's the compost. We're just looking at the plants as I ramble and go on talking. You'd see, anyway, come on to the other side of the greenhouse. The plants are not too good. They've been better. They've been better. I think what it's done, the compost has produced something in the air which has lingered, and I'm forever more, not every more, but I'm forever removing dead plants which I didn't in the old days. You've got the pans in the front. They're all right, but they're not plants you would put into a show. Not that I put plants into a show now, but they don't sparkle. I remember this sparkle word came from a Mrs. Stilwell. of the Cactus and Succulent Society of Great Britain, the oldest society at the time, before the merger with the National Cactus Society to form the BCS. In fact, there was a little fiddling going on as regards the membership. I'm one of the early members, but got a very late number, which I think is unfair. But anyhow, that's going to be another story. Let's just pause on this little beauty. That's Echeveria lowii, named after Alfred Lau, who done a lot of exploration in Mexico and thereabouts. You read about his expeditions going back a few years. New members probably haven't heard of him, heard the name, but lowii is rather a tricky Echeveria. You say this one's in full leaf and full flower, or in bud. That plant was okay. Looking back, we've got some few more plants in the trays. We've got baby's toes, fenestrarias. We've got another Echeveria there. Some of these plants were from Jean Ellis, who I've been looking after for the last quite a few years. Unfortunately, I lost some of them because these had also been repotted into this, dare I say, crappy soil containing garden waste, and I think also probably household waste gets mixed up with it as well. So you can probably imagine some horrible things from indoors ending up in your compost, which you're using, touching with your hands. You don't know what you're going to catch. I know I've had more bugs since using that soil than ever before. I'll show you some of the lithops. There is an answer, by the way. There is an answer. There's a few more plants here. As I say, they don't really sparkle. Mrs. Stilwell was one of the older members of the Cactus Society of Great Britain. She was a show judge, and she specialised mainly in the other succulents, including mesems, and was a very, very good judge. I know she judged one of my plants, which was one of these. This, obviously not this plant, but an Optica rubra, which I put on the show bench many years ago. And I remember her saying, or the person remembered her saying to her, "That's a nice plant, but it doesn't sparkle." And how right she was. When I got the plant home and checked it over, the root was completely rotten. So the plant was in anything but good condition. Anyway, I'm getting away from talking about this lousy compost. What do we do about it? You know, where can you get decent compost? How do you know you're getting decent compost? Well, I've spoken to cactus friends, and one particular compost was recommended by the late, I can't think of his name, the gentleman that lived over at Banstead. I'm terrible, I forget names. And he passed away a year or so ago. Terry, it was Terry, who was an expert on growing mesems and other plants, garden plants and greenhouse plants. And he was saying the best compost that he has used or was using, unfortunately he's no longer with us, is a brand made by a company called Clover. And I understand it comes from Ireland, from managed peat bogs and it's done in a safe way. And I understand they don't use the garden rubbish that's coming over. But the problem is you can't get it everywhere. Now I live in, without giving the exact address, in the South London area, Wallington if you like, and I think the nearest supplier is probably in Epsom, and I'm still to get this because I haven't started repotting yet. I must do it soon. As you can see, some of these plants are in desperate need of a repot. So, you know, once I've got this stuff, I'll be okay. Unfortunately, you can't sort of order it on eBay. You have to go and pick the stuff up. A friend of mine on the south coast has got some of this, and she offered it to sell me some. Thank you, Suzanne. I do appreciate your help on that one. And she has experienced the same problem as I have with the plants. As I said before, you're looking at them now, they just don't look right. They don't look right. And as I say, I've got to do some picking up and removing. If anyone else has had this experience, and I think you must have, because when you think the compost is sold by a very large garden centre, well, many large garden centres, and under their own names from the do-it-yourself outlets, more of this must be going on. It doesn't even look right. It smells funny, and it has funny lumps in there. I dread to think what the lumps are. I could imagine. Anyhow, I'm going to stop now. So I keep looking at the plants and keep seeing things I don't like to see. There's a couple more plants there that are... Now that's gone quite hard. It's reached the end of its life. This has never happened before. And this is what we're finding out. And I think it's due to this dodgy compost. Anyhow, please excuse me for not putting another phone up or a lamp or anything that I'm interested in. And I thought it was important that this was mentioned, just to remind members and people that it is quite a problem. I noticed my Namaquanum looks quite nice there. It's in its resting state. Let's hope it's not resting in peace. I think it's okay. Pachypodium Namaquanum, ghostman. Anyhow, please excuse the mess. It's not very tidy in here. But at least what plants are alive are still alive, and hopefully will survive. We've even got seed capsules or seed pods on Aloe variegator, sometimes called Aloe orsana. Funny enough, that plant, I was told, does better indoors, but the ones I've got are not too bad. My good old heater there. Wee Willy Winky, they call it. They're good heaters, those. I leave it on all the time. When I say I leave it on all the time, that's on the fan. The heat comes on only when the temperature goes very low. And not being a millionaire, I tend to keep a low temperature, as long as it's frost free. I think that's all I've got to say. Yep, I'm going to shut up now and put this up. Once again, sorry to be a bearer of bad news, because it is bad news. It's killing our plants. and it's something which could be stopped. But what's behind it's obviously money. We're running out of certain things. I know some of the peat bogs are running out. But I don't think the answer is to put garden waste in, which is poisoning our plants. I see another plant over the back there, which is deceased. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and I'll pop this up on YouTube. Thank you.